Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 guide. I'm going to show you how can you learn and craft a new s'mores recipe, which is quite useful for several world challenges for the Pioneer Scouts. Hello everyone, are you ready to learn this new recipe? So as you probably know, there are two main new foods, the pemmican and the s'mores, and they are very popular for the world challenges, so several of them require them to be completed. And to start with, I want to tell you that this is one of the most time-consuming recipes to create, and you should do it by parts, otherwise your veggies will spoil. Meanwhile, it happened to me because I just gathered every ingredient I needed for the s'mores recipe, and then when I came to my camp to start crafting, most of my veggies were spoiled. Now, good for me that I have Razorgrain and so on in my base, so I could get most of them without having to travel to different locations again, but that might not be your case, so be aware that you should gather or collect the things that do not spoil first, like the wood, like spices, and even craft syrup and sugar if you get the ingredients first. That's just my advice to you to avoid further hassle, but that's about it. So let's begin, and I'm going to tell you how can you get the recipe first of all. In order to get the s'mores recipe, you should head to Camp Adams when the Campfire Tales event is up. Now you probably will have to server jump multiple times until you find one event because it seems to be rather rare. But this is probably the only way you can get it. I'm not sure if you can also get it from the repeatable Pioneer Scouts missions. I have done it plenty of times, more than 5, and I never got any food recipes. I got, however, a skin recipe for my Bowie knife, so that's pretty cool. But just head here, get your recipe, and don't forget to learn it as well. Then it's time to look at the ingredients we're going to need at the cooking station. So in order, we're going to need bone, Brahmin milk, Razorgrain flour, spices, sugar, syrup, and wood. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to start with the ones that will stay in your inventory for longer and won't spoil as fast or at all. So let's begin with where to get some wood, shall we? One of the fastest ways to get a decent amount of wood is probably at SYLVIE and Sons logging camp, which is right here. And you have to kill a few animals, sometimes legendary rats, which is pretty cool, since now we can get script from the items. And then you should equip your wood perk to get more every time you gather wood. And then start, gathering as much as you want or need. There is more on the other side of this main tent here. And that should give you plenty of wood to work with. As you can see, I was getting, 8, 12, or even more per gathering. Now, let's focus on getting some spices, and you only need 1 per craft, so you shouldn't need that many of them. So head here to Watauga High School, and then you need to go to the cantina part, like the kitchen. And don't forget to kill whatever is attacking you, mutants or robots, because they hit really hard in this area. And then after searching the kitchen, you will often find a bottle of spices between the kitchen and between the eating areas. So it's right here in this counter. It usually spawns here. Sometimes there's some sugar as well, but not always. The next location is at Fort Defiance. They also have a cantina, and there you can find again spices and sugar too. So the two usually spawn in here. So one in this counter and the other in the table, and that's pretty much it. Then you can also go to Johnson's Acre. It's an abandoned house right to the south. And you will also find a bottle of spices and sugar inside of this house. So it's pretty handy because we also need sugar. And then, if you need more, just server jump. That's my best advice for you. Also, keep in mind that you can find spices in many other places, especially in abandoned houses and again, cantinas. You can also get bone as part of your first ingredients because they do not spoil. I suggest you to head to farms or fixed spots with mammals because most of them have a chance to drop bones once you kill them. Now I found out that mongrels drop them quite often. So here at this farm on the very north of the map, you can also find some bones laying around, and you can also find some Brahmins sometimes in here. And feel free to get milk or to kill them to try and get their bones. They sometimes drop skulls, but I wasn't so lucky this time. So I kept on server jumping and killing more of them. And here is one of the bone I said, it's an antler. It gives you 3 bones when you scrap it, so it's pretty useful. But you can also kill the animals for bones, and you only need 1 bone per craft, so you don't need that many of them. And there you go, another one. But if killing mammals is not really working for you, then I suggest you to head to Toxic Larry's Meat and Go, because there are usually 2 to 3 skulls in there, as well as 2 bottles of sugar. So that's very handy, right? And be aware with these monsters, they are always guarding the doors. And the first head is right there to my left. Then when you go upstairs to my left is also one behind me. And the third one is usually outside here to the left as well, here. And the sugar is under the grill. Now sometimes it's pepper or even spices, I've seen them both. But it can be sugar. And the other one is on top of the fridge right there. And you should be settled for now. If you still need more sugar, or if you weren't able to find it in the world at all, then go to the Green Country Lodge and equip your green perk under perception, because it allows you to gather 2 times more when you gather flora. So if you follow the riverside in here, you will find Snaptail all across the borders of the river on both sides. Just keep an eye open, and you can also server jump if necessary, but I don't think you do. If you follow the entire river, you will easily find it. Even if you follow the trail in your map, there is no water now, but the Snaptail are still there if you follow the trail in the map. If you get the Snaptail, then it's a great idea to get milk from this place as well, because there are around 10 Brahmins in the Green Country Lodge. So all you have to do is go a little bit ahead from the fast travel area. Just go straight forward and you will eventually find 3 Brahmins right here. And try to milk them. If you get the milk, great. If not, you can go a little bit ahead or server jump too. And since we are very close, I suggest you to go to the Poseidon energy plant to gather some cement, because we are going to need it for the Razorgrain Flour. Strange enough, I know. So there are 4 bags of cement right here at the start. One is here below the shovel. Then in this corner too, and near the door there is one as well on top of the boxes. And the last one is there on boxes too. Simple enough to do, I guess. In order to craft the Razorgrain Flour, you need to get Razorgrain. So head to the Sunday Brothers cabin, because they have a very fancy farm there. It's not big, but it's quite useful. So you can get a decent amount of it there. You can also server jump, but we're going to need a lot of Razorgrain. So I suggest you to also head to the Aronshold homestead. We were there before, but I didn't say anything because it would have been spoiled by now, I think. I'm pretty sure actually. So in this farm there is a lot of Razorgrain, and it's probably my favorite spot for it. And if you think the previous location is not so good, because you know we're going to need a lot of it, then just head here to this location and get as much as you can, because You know, it's not so nice to travel here, it's very far, but you can use Fallout 76 as a free travel point, and that should minimize the cost of traveling to this farm. Finally, we're going to need some glowing resin to craft the syrup. So head to the White Spring Resort and we're going to go around the area because there are many trees and they have glowing resin. Make sure to equip your green thumb as well so you can get double when you gather every time. And basically here all you have to do is search the trees from every side to look for the resin, and it might take you a little while because there are so many trees in this area. There is also some Snaptail in this little lake in case you need some and you are here. And if it doesn't work, then just head to the very outskirts of White Spring and you will surely find it there. There is one last thing you need to do, which is collect some dirty water from a natural source, because it's faster than, you know, the thingy that you put in your base that takes forever to get dirty water. Then you need to boil it because we're going to need some water to craft the Razorgrain Flour. And that's pretty much it. Now, for crafting the ingredients and even the final crafting, I suggest you to equip Super Duper in Luck because it increases your chance to get free items with every and single craft. And this is just a reminder of everything you need. So depending on how many s'mores you want to craft, that's how much you should farm and aim for. So let's start by crafting the syrup and then the sugar and the Razorgrain. And after that, we should be pretty much set to craft the final s'mores. And again, you should do some math here because you don't want to be crafting a lot of syrups or a lot of sugar and then you don't need it. Now, you know, syrup kind of spoils. Things like spices don't, but if you craft things that will be useless, if you don't use them, that's not so good. And that's why you should make the math and be sure you get enough to craft what you need and not more and not less. And well, if something spoiled in the meanwhile, you might just get it from your camp or go back to these locations I told you to get whatever you need. At long last, we have everything we need to bake the s'mores. So go ahead and do it before it's too late and something else spoils. So I crafted 3 because I needed it for a challenge, and that's more than enough because this food is nothing great. I mean, it looks good, it looks very delicious and so on, but all it gives is a little bit of max HP, and that's okay, I guess, but is it really worth it? I don't think so. In my opinion, it's too difficult. As in, it takes too many ingredients and you have to go to so many places to actually get it done. So in the name of the challenges, I think it's worth it. For anything else, I don't think so. There are far many other recipes for HP that you can easily craft or get from the world. Anyway, that's going to be all for this video. I hope it was useful to you in any way possible. If so, don't forget to subscribe below if you are not yet subscribed, of course. And if you would like to support me, then feel free to check my new Patreon page. The links are right below in the description. I'm Marta Branco. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.